Welcome, and it's time for yet another video. Now this is a video that's all part of my look at the year 1970 and looking at different genres, and today I'm going to tackle the first video on pop rock albums from that year. There are quite a few. I'm expecting to do maybe 4 videos on this one. There's an array of talent on display, and I'll try not to spend too long on each album. But I'm going to get started with an album by the Kinks. Of course, they've been around for a decade almost, with huge success with pop singles, but they'd also done a few albums. And this was their 8th album, Lola versus the Power Man. And it's sort of supposed to have represented good versus evil, a satirical concept album about the music industry. And there were 2 huge hits on this album, Lola and 8 Man. Now, this album followed on shortly after the Americans lifted the ban on the group from touring in the mid-60s. That ban was lifted in 1969. In that year, and on this album, the Kinks had been joined by John Gosling to play keyboards. But the use of the National Steel guitar, sometimes known as a dobro, there are some subtle differences between that, but anyway, this instrument was used frequently by Ray Davies and is very, very noticeable on the huge hit Lola, and more to that as we continue. Now, I'm not going to go through every track on here, but I'm going to try and do a very sprinkled version of how I heard the album. The Contenders has got a great acoustic intro for the piano takes us rocking, and there's some slick harmonica and some snappy guitar breaks on this rock and roll song, written of course by Ray. Strangers is up next. It slows down a little bit, acoustic piano combo, and Dave Davies very weary on lead vocals. There's an organ back in the mix which drones a bit. Denmark Street's next up, conjured up music hall spirited cockney banter, and it's got a touch of banjo which is highlighted. It's a satirical look at song publishers. And then we've got Get Back in Line with some really jangly chords which lead us into a pop ballad which is full of satire about the trade unions. It's the huge hit Lola. There's lots of versions of this song, and I'm going to do the lyric at the end of this piece. But anyway, they had a bit of a problem with the huge company in the United States, Coca-Cola, and they had to change the lyric to Cherry Cola. The BBC in the UK insisted on that. It didn't really affect the song particularly. Davis's vocals are absolutely extraordinary, and wonderful lyrics, and the band really tight. It's got a great Beatlish guitar by Dave, and that dobro, well, on the intro chords, absolutely memorable. Next up is Top of the Pops, which is a successful pop music show on in the UK. It's a skittish rock bash about music shows, and again satirising this. Hard rock beat, but powerful organ driving the beat. And then the money go round, more musical, Formby-like, impish vocals from Ray. I love it, that oompa piano. And then This Time Tomorrow, a beautiful song. Aircraft noises introduce it. It's a little gem really, just so perfectly constructed. Pianos aiding the guitars, energy is there, and the lyrics are great. and there's a nice tingling piano. Long Way From Home, piano ballad, reminder of life on the road. Then we got a rock riff song, Rats, which is a real bash. It's about the metaphor of the rat race, of course. And then the second big single, 8-Man, Dobro opens this again, and it's sings like Ray sings a little bit like a West Indian tongue-in-cheek type of stuff. There's a steel band sound mirrored, and a plea to return to the jungle away from the pollution. Ha ha ha. Nice sing-along, jaunty piano beat as well. Urbanites, that desire to escape from the reckless pursuit of greed in the cities. And then Power Man, particularly noticeable for the bass work here, and it's a sort of hard rock sort of type song, and there's a brief solo from Dave. Hooky chord riffs I noticed, and a solid cool outro solo. And then finally got to be free. Davis sends us off with his powerful acoustic led bash, and it's a solid rock song. Nothing less, nothing more. Little reminder of that absolute classic, the lyrics to Lola. I'm not going to read all the verses, just the first one, and let's have a look at this. I met her in a club down in Old Soho where you drink champagne and it tastes just like Coca-Cola, cola, cola. She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her name in a dark brown voice. She said, Lola, 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 Lola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but when she squeezed me tight, she nearly broke my spine. Oh, my Lola, Lola, Lola. Well, I'm not dumb, but I can't understand why she walks like a woman and talks like a man. Well, we drank champagne and danced all night under electric candle light. She picked me up and sat me on her knee, and she said, little boy, when you come home with me? Then there's the chorus again, and then we moved on to the next verse. I pushed her away, I walked to the door, I fell to the floor, I got down on my knees. Well, I looked at her and she at me. Then we got another verse. Well, that's the way that I want it to stay, and I always want it to be that way for my Lola. Lola, Lola. Girls will be boys and boys will be girls. It's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world, except for Lola. I'm having trouble finishing this. And in fact, there's just the chorus to go. It's such a brilliantly constructed lyric, and I hope you enjoyed it. We're only one in, and I think there's already 7 minutes on the clock. Let's get on to the next, The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie. I've got a full review of this on my channel, but I'll try and make this brief. Produced by Tony Visconti, he also played bass on it, and it's got some very heavy rock type songs on this. The opener, The Width of the Circle, is explosive with some really wondrous Ronson solos on it. It's wildly psychedelic with whoosh-like bass runs and an absolute standout. A mystical journey into madness, war, technology, as we come across all the madmen, running gun blues, and the Supermen. This previewed, of course, the Spiders from Mars band. Black country rock has a great riff, and Ronson peppers it with lead guitar solos continuously. Bowie's oddly affecting, high-pitched, cracked and extremely British vocals are sprinkled through the tracks, and there's a terrific skippy rhythm for the title track, which is sang hippie style with great Ronson runs. And anyway, I'm going to do a quick reading because lyrics on this album are absolutely essential. This is my reading of the final track on the album, The Supermen. When all the world was very young and mountain magic heavy hung, the Supermen would walk in fire. guardians of a loveless isle, and gloomy browed with super fear, their tragic endless lives could hear nor sigh. In solemn perverse serenity, wondrous things being changed to life. Chorus. Strange games they would play then, no death for the perfect man, the rolls into one for them. Life rolls into one for them, so softly a super god cries. Where all were minds in uni thought, powers weird by mystic taught, no pain, no gain, no power too great, colossal strength to grasp a fate, where sad-eyed mermen tossed in slumbers, nightmare dreams no mortal mind could hold. A man would tear his brother's flesh, a chance to die, to turn to mould. And then there's another chorus. Ugh. Okay, to the third selection on this video. I'm not sure we're going to get any more in, but let's have a go anyway. This is Tumbleweed Connection by Elton John. It's the second album that he released this year following his self-titled Elton John, and it really does have a cowboy country feel to it. It's got a real warmth in the songs and the musicianship. There's some great lyrics by Taupin as usual. The ballad of a well-known gone starts us off, and it's a joyful country rocker. Country comfort continues the film, and Elton's vocals are buoyant to say the least. There's a lush steel guitar solo there, and Caleb Quaye on guitar delivers some nice guitar throughout, particularly on My Father's Gun, which is an epic Civil War tale about a master storyteller. Who else? Bernie Taupin. This story of sailing down the Mississippi comes alive through the artistry of Elton John's singing. Love Song's next. It's gorgeous acoustic folk song written by Leslie Duncan, who also sang harmonies on it. We also then get Amorina, which sees the arrival in the band of Dean Murray and Nigel Olsson, who became the rhythm sections for Elton's live band and subsequent albums. It's a funky beginning with good work by Caleb again. John's vocals and pianos are invigorating, and he certainly is becoming more pop star-like. The last cut, Burn Down the Mission, it's a second song on here that's got a nod to religion, and it's a bit of an epic and cinematic as well in its description. This track would be part of Elton's stage act for many years, and its tempo changes are among the most interesting of his entire career. Now, once again, I'm going to give you a lyrical extract from Burn Down the Mission. I really do think that lyrics have to be included with these giants in the music business, because without them you really only get half of what you want to buy or listen to. So here goes, Burn Down the Mission. You tell me there's an angel in your tree. Did he say he'd come to call on me? For things are getting desperate in our home, living in the parish of the restless folks I know. Everybody now bring your family down to the riverside. Look to the east to see where the fat stock hide. Behind 4 walls of stone the rich man sleeps. It's time we put the flame torch to their keeps. Burn down the mission if we're going to stay alive. Watch the black smoke fly to heaven. See the red flame light the sky. Burn down the mission. Burn it down to stay alive. It's our only chance of living. Take all you need to live inside. Now let's go on to the second verse. Deep in the woods, the squirrels are out today. My wife cried when they came to take me away. But what more could I do just to keep her warm than burn down the mission with walls? And now everybody bring your family down to the riverside. Look to the east to see where the fat stock hide. Behind 4 walls of stone that rich man sleeps. It's time to put the flame torch to their keep. Okay, and then the chorus basically is repeated. Right, I am going to continue 2 very brief nods to 2 other albums I've put in this category. The first, Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon by Status Quo. It's not really psychedelic Quo, and it's not those hit singles Quo. But I had to put it in here because I couldn't see it getting in any other category. And it's basically 12-bar blues, really, but it's a bit too fast to go in the blues genre. And the tracks are all pretty nice, not that memorable. The highlight, I guess, is the 9-minute closer, I Gotta Go Home. I think that's the title. But it's okay, but don't spend too long on it. One on this first pop rock video is T-Rex. This is the second album this year by this band, Mark Bolan's band, but the earlier one was called Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I will have a review of that on another video. T-Rex, he'd ditched the Tyrannosaurus because he was about to launch his career full tilt into electric music and, of course, glam rock, glitter, which he became very famous for. This is like a transitional album from acoustic to electric. It's got some strong melodic and lyrical content on here, much more so than the aforementioned A Beard of Stars, which was the earlier album this year. And he was testing out his guitar playing, so some of it's a bit aggressive and a bit frantic. The tracks, I listened to this again the other day, and I must admit I liked it, but it was all a little bit sort of pop bubblegum stuff, really, without that sort of oomph to it. Although I will refer to Root of Star, where the wah-wah guitar was it was quite refreshing, really, and still percussion from Mickey Finn throughout, and his gentle voice, of course, Bolan's voice, and then Is It Love? This was a single, and it was basically the one that probably led on to the first huge hit, Ride a White Song. And at the end of this album, there's a 9-minute version of The Wizard, which is a real stomp with frantic percussion, frantic vocals, and quite heavy chord-like guitar playing. So that's basically it. That's my first video then on the pop rock genre for 1970. Please comment. I love comments. If I get comments, I will answer them all, and I really do feel that this is all worthwhile. So please get them down. Even if you hate it, I'd rather have that than nothing. Okay, thanks for listening.